Am I the a-hole for refusing to continue X's punishment of our daughter after she told her stepmother she didn't care about her cancer diagnosis? My ex, 42 male, and I, 37 female, share custody of our 13-year-old daughter and 12-year-old son. While I was recovering in the hospital from our son's complicated birth, he left me for his current wife Paula, 35 female. They tried to use my vulnerable and weakened state to get custody of the kids, which luckily failed. The divorce took almost 2 years because my ex and Paula wanted the house he and I shared, and he was trying to insist the house was 100% his when it was not. In the end, the house was sold and we split the money 50-50, which was what I had been waiting for. Custody was 50-50, but with me having sole decision-making abilities, education, and medical. This was because of a fight he engaged in over several things before our divorce was even finalized, and because he admitted he would make decisions with Paula and would not consult me. The judge did not take kindly to that. There was a period starting when our kids were 6 and 7, where I had custody for almost 2 years. My ex and Paula engaged in a ton of parental alienation, attempted to interfere in the kids being in therapy, and went hard on trying to make the kids call Paula mom. They had to engage in co-parenting and parenting classes on top of therapy before unsupervised visitation and later custody were restored. The relationship between my ex and myself remains sour. The relationship between Paula and myself doesn't exist. We hate each other and we avoid each other. I hate my ex too, but that's born more from disgust about how he has put Paula before our kids with his actions. He doesn't care how much their actions hurt them. Our kids do not have a positive relationship with Paula, and my ex has complained about their disrespect of her in the past, but he never provided examples. Recently, this changed, and he wanted me to continue a punishment of our daughter that he set. My ex and Paula tried to have children of their own and have been unsuccessful. Then 2 months ago, Paula was diagnosed with cervical cancer. A few weeks after her diagnosis, my ex and Paula tried to set the kids up to help Paula out around the house and help take care of her when they're with him. Paula said she'd need her babies more than ever, and my daughter told her she wouldn't help, and she doesn't care that Paula has cancer. My ex demanded she apologize, but my daughter refused. He emailed me the next night stating I need to be on his side and ground her for at least 30 days and longer if she refuses to apologize. He said she cannot get away with speaking to Paula that way, and she might as well have wished her dead. He said our son might also need to be punished because he appears to share the sentiment, but did not state it aloud. I told him I would not be grounding our daughter for a month or longer, and he needed to reflect on their behavior to see why she responded as she did, and why our son appears to share the sentiment. I spoke to both kids when they returned to my home. My daughter said she hates that her dad and Paula expect them to care for Paula, when she does everything to be awful to me and never cared if the things said about me hurt her and her brother. She said she was tired of them acting like Paula was their mom. My son said he doesn't want to help Paula, but didn't say anything because he didn't want to be punished. He said Paula used to wish for me to be sick like that, and he didn't think it was fair to ask them to help because of that. My ex has repeatedly emailed me asking if I have grounded our daughter yet. He's name-called and accused me of trying to curse Paula via our kids. He then said I was failing as a mother, that I was letting adult issues turn the kids into awful people. I won't say any of what he said has made me feel guilty, but I suppose I am reflecting on if I'm not doing the best by my kids. For me, their feelings are valid and I don't think they're wrong about how Paula has earned them not wanting to help. But I may just be too close to reasonably assess this. So I'm here asking, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The key here is that your daughter didn't say it unprompted, or because she even wished Paula ill. She was responding to someone forcing her into being a caretaker and not respecting her boundaries by pretending there's a relationship there. Paula's chickens have come home to roost, and your daughter is not the keeper of her health or feelings. Your husband is bitter that he didn't succeed in replacing you. If I were you, I'd do what they did. Use her vulnerable state and the fact that apparently she is unable to care for herself to revise visitation. Seems like 2 kids in the house is too much for them to deal with at this difficult time. This is a very valid take. OP, you might also bolster any claim you have for additional custody by consulting with a therapist. Your daughter expressed her honest feelings about her stepmother. That doesn't warrant any punishment. Therapy? Maybe. But your kids should not be punished because they dislike her based on her actions and behavior. Your ex wanting to punish your daughter for a month is excessive and unfair. It's not clear how your kids are being asked to help out, but that in itself may be reason for your ex to have less custody. Your kids are the ones who should be cared for. They shouldn't be pushed into being caretakers themselves. If you haven't already done so, begin using the parenting app. Document everything and update your lawyer. Yeah, valid. That way there's a clear record and no chance for him to twist things later. Judges tend to take those logs seriously, so better to keep everything in one place. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband that his affair didn't just ruin our marriage, but also broke our family? So my 42 female ex-husband, 40 male, cheated on me about 2 years ago. The affair lasted for almost a year before I found out, and when I did, I immediately filed for divorce. It was messy, but we got through it. We have 2 kids together, 13 female and 10 male. He ended up moving in with the woman he cheated on me with about 6 months after the divorce was finalized. I've done everything I can to encourage the kids to maintain a relationship with their dad, reminding them to call, making sure they pack their stuff for his weekends, even biting my tongue when they come back and complain about her. I never talk badly about him in front of them because I don't want to be that parent. But here's the thing, the kids have gotten colder and colder toward him. At first they were just kind of awkward, but now they don't really engage much when they're with him. They come home and tell me they don't like going over there, because dad only cares about her, or dad doesn't listen when we're upset. I keep telling them it's okay to tell him how they feel, but they say he gets defensive or tries to guilt trip them. The other night, he called me frustrated, saying, "I don't know why the kids are being so cold and distant. I've tried everything, but they won't warm up. You must be saying something to them." I told him flat out, "I don't badmouth you to the kids. They're old enough to remember what happened and to feel hurt by it. Affairs don't just break marriages, they break families. You made a choice that hurt not just me, but them too. If they're cold, it's because they're still processing that you betrayed our family, not because of anything I said." He got really quiet and then blew up on me, saying I was poisoning the kids against him by reframing the past and that I was cruel for throwing the affair in his face years later. I told him I wasn't reframing anything. It happened. It hurt us all, and the kids are dealing with the fallout whether he likes it or not. Now he's telling mutual friends that I'm manipulating the kids and weaponizing the affair, and some of them think I shouldn't have said that to him because it keeps the wound open. So, am I the a-hole for telling him it's his fault that our kids don't like him anymore? Not the a-hole. This is called paying the consequences of actions. My ex-wife is starting to experience this. Gonna be hard to handle since I was the one who always did it while we were married. But hey, it wasn't me who cheated, and in front of our kids too. May the karma of an STD arrive to haunt her for years to come. It never ceases to amaze me how cheaters will be like, "I don't want to rehash the past." They want your protection from their mistake and cannot face the fact that what they did hurt everyone. It's not your responsibility to make it easier for him beyond what you are already doing. It's his fault, period. Kids are not dumb. You do not owe him your fealty. He had that, and he destroyed that. What is the reframe he speaks of? He had a year-long affair. Is he delusional? You've done nothing wrong. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He's refusing to accept the find out part after he literally effed around. Move to a court-approved parenting app for all communications. You don't deserve to be abused, and you are no longer responsible for his relationship with his kids or his grown-up feelings. Update. Am I the a-hole for acting like a maid at my sister's house after she gave birth? Original post. My sister, 39 female, just had twins 2 weeks ago via C-section. If you've ever been around someone recovering from a C-section, you know it's basically major abdominal surgery. She's exhausted, sore, still bleeding, and trying to figure out life with 2 newborns. Her husband, 32 male, has been less than helpful. He keeps telling her that since his job is too hard and busy, she needs to handle everything at home. Cleaning, laundry, cooking, and of course, taking care of 2 babies. She called me crying one night because she was overwhelmed, so I went over the next day. Now I didn't go to hold babies or play fun aunt. I know my sister. She cannot stand clutter or mess, and her house was stressing her out on top of everything else. So I cleaned, organized, folded laundry, loaded the dishwasher, wiped down counters, vacuumed, and even prepped a couple of meals for her. I told her not to worry about lifting a finger. She cried again, this time from gratitude. She kept saying how much it helped her mental health just to have a clean space while she heals. Here's the problem. Her husband came home and was livid. Not at me, but at her. He accused her of making him look bad because I came over and did everything he thinks she should be doing. He literally said, "She's the mom, not you. You're just acting like a maid." For the record, my sister didn't even ask me to do all that. I did it because I could see she needed help. She defended me, told him she's still healing, and reminded him that doctors literally told her not to lift heavy things or overexert herself yet. He brushed it off and doubled down that she should suck it up because everyone else manages. Now there's tension in their house. My sister keeps thanking me, but her husband's icy with her and making snide comments like, "Don't worry, your maid will handle it." I feel awful because the last thing I wanted to do was make things worse for her. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I hope your sister leaves that idiot of a husband. That's sad to hear the complete lack of support. Honestly, is there a way for your sister to come to your home while she recovers? You can be sure that she isn't getting to rest and recover when you're not at their place. Her husband would be demanding she cook for him and look after him instead of recovering from surgery and prioritizing herself and the twins. I am genuinely worried about her safety. I was thinking the same thing. As someone who's had 2 C-sections, this guy can rot. Her insides were literally out of her body. I hope for her sake she gets some help staying somewhere else for the time being. Now for the update. Hi everyone, thanks for all the comments on my original post. A few days have passed and things escalated quickly. The next day after I posted, I packed up my sister and the twins and moved them into my house. She is now staying in my master bedroom so she has space, privacy, and an ensuite, and I moved into my guest room. Now about her husband, he's a doctor, which makes it even worse that he's been acting like her C-section recovery's no big deal. So yesterday I went down to his hospital. I told the nurses and the receptionists everything he's been doing and not doing at home. I wasn't screaming or anything, just very loudly sharing stories in places where a lot of people could overhear. Like how Dr. X thinks his wife should scrub floors while she's still bleeding from abdominal surgery. Let's just say his co-workers now know he's a lot better at prescribing rest than actually supporting it. After that, I called his mom. For context, she and I are really close. We're basically the same person in different ages. I told her every single detail. What he did, what he hasn't done, what he said, and what he hasn't said. Glad to say she was not impressed. And I didn't stop there. With my parents' help, I told the rest of the family, close relatives, extended family, cousins, everybody. I literally spent the whole day calling and updating people about my brother-in-law's behavior. If he wanted my sister to feel humiliated and unsupported, well, now he gets to feel it too. Yes, I know what I did was a total bitch move. But sometimes 2 negatives make a positive. It even says so in math. So here's the update I'm sure many of you are waiting for, and I hope I was petty enough for all of you potatoes. I actually think that was an incredibly wise move. When I read your original post, I suspected that he either already was, or had the potential to become abusive. Abuse and risk levels spike when a woman leaves or attempts to. Making it public knowledge who he is and what he does offered your sister a certain amount of safety in shedding light on him. And frankly, either way, if he wasn't comfortable with his behavior being public knowledge, then he shouldn't have been comfortable with it in private either. I support this level of petty. Those nurses will spread it fast throughout his work too, and give him so much grief. Your sister must be so much more relaxed now. My sister is a nurse and can confirm they will spread it like wildfire. Last story. Am I the a-hole for rejecting my deadbeat father's wife's attempt to bring me and my sister into their family? My sister, 19 female, and I, 17 male, were raised by our single mom. Our father was a deadbeat who left when mom was pregnant with me, and he's got $50,000 of child support debt and counting toward me. My sister and I used to see him places when we were kids. It's a small town and he never left, and neither did mom. He'd just quit jobs and go to jail rather than pay support or be a dad. It was probably a year ago when my sister told me she saw him with a woman and kids. My sister and I were like, WTF, and then we both saw him another day with just the kids. It was weird. Another time, all three of us saw them. We were all in the same diner at the same time, and he was acting like a parent for the first time ever. The woman with him noticed us watching, and it was a few weeks after that, she stopped me and my sister and introduced herself, and tried to start a relationship between us all. She had met Dad online and they were married by then, and he was the most wonderful stepdad to her kids. She approached me and my sister a few times on our own too, when her first attempt at starting a relationship failed. A couple of times, she told us he'd be more willing to get the child support back payments paid if we had a relationship. One time I got really far from her before she could get closer to me because she had one of her kids with her, and I didn't want to start anything in front of kids. Last week she approached me on my own again and told me how sad it would be for us not to be a family. She said my father would be adopting her kids in November, and she'd love me and my sister to come, and we could be a family. I asked her why she thinks either of us would want to know the family he chose to be with, and why we'd want to see him be a father to kids who aren't even his, over his actual kids. I told her she's wasting her time and pissing us off, and she needs to stay the heck away from us. She tried to yell at me, but I walked away. I did hear her say something like I didn't need to be rude to her when she was trying to be nice. Like I said, I was focused on getting away from her. But maybe I was harsh? I don't know. I think saying something once is whatever, but to keep trying is way too much. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your father is an a-hole. Just because he wants to reinvent himself with a new wife and children does not negate your lived experience without him as a father, nor providing financial support for you and your sister. It seems that you have communicated to this woman that you are not interested, that there is nothing he can do to make up for his years of absence and a failure to provide for the children that is sired. And if you're being rude, it's because she was rude first by ignoring your previous statements and feelings about not wanting to reconnect with your dad. She is probably trying to rationalize in her mind bringing a person of poor character like your father into her children's life, now that she has knowledge of what kind of father he wasn't in his own children's lives. The fact he hasn't approached them himself and sent his mouthpiece shows how small his balls are. Not the a-hole. She's a massive a-hole and has been harassing you. You'd said no plenty of times. And she wants you to stay polite? Tell her to stay in her freaking lane. Love how she says your father will pay child support if he has a relationship. That is not how it works. He pays regardless. What's especially telling is that it's her trying to speak to you and not even your trash father. He should pay regardless, but we're just waiting for him to quit his job to be a stay-at-home dad while his wife is the breadwinner. It wouldn't be too hard to believe he'll go to jail again before paying at a faster rate.